or afternoon whenever you watch this.
They're watching it late at night. They're probably listening to it instead of watching it, though. I mean, it's a podcast, right?
Oh, you smartass. So today in the queue, we have merch. Yeah, that's right. Up on my Etsy store, we have merch.
We do indeed have merch.
And, I thought I was being clever because, today in the queue, I've said that every time now. So, get it? Q?
Like the letter Q?
No, like whenever you queue up for something.
So like a line.
Kinda.
Oh, that's cheeky. You mean like when you queue up for like a battleground or something like that? Okay.
Yeah, since we talk about World of Warcraft. So, in all seriousness, today in the queue we have pet battles. More specifically, beginner pet battles.
Yeah, it's just kind of like going to be a nice way to get yourself started on it. I know that some people are hesitant on it because they don't really know the best way to get started.
Shit, man. Like, I think today was my first pet battle ever.
Like real pet battle when you're not just like going up against things you shouldn't fight.
I think one time when I didn't understand it, I went up against something in Suramar and it one-shotted me and I learned my lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll do that. So
with getting started, you must have a level 5 toon. So get yourself up to level 5, then you can start pet battling.
So that's for like really fresh players.
Yeah,
like
so if you're listening to us, you more than likely already have something over level 5.
So generally, like you can still follow these instructions if you've never started the battle pet stuff, or you've started it and maybe lost track along the way.
So to get started, for the absolute beginner, you purchase battle pet training for 10 gold.
Okay.
Which is not very much.
No, that's pretty easy to come by. That's maybe like one quest.
So you must have at least one pet eligible for battles. Not every pet that you have is going to be a battle pet. Some pets do not have battle abilities. So how do you know if your pet is a battle pet? Which I think is a pretty important question here.
Yeah, that's definitely a good question to ask.
So when you click on your pet in the pet journal, it will tell you if it's a battle pet or not. An eligible pet will have a health bar and a type as well as attacks. And we will get into different like pet families and stuff later on. I have a few examples that I will tell you, but I'm not going to go into examples for every type because that's really tedious.
So like I can say for sure as far as like ones that I know are battle capable and ones that aren't. Like the one you get is the achievement for collecting all the pets from I think Burning Crusade stuff. You get like a little Naru as a pet, and it's purely cosmetic. It does not fight at all.
Also, guys, I want to apologize if our audio is a bit different than it has been. Our mic died on us, so we had to go get an intermediary mic until I can get a better one. So yeah, if we sound like we're recording with a potato, that is why.
It was really bad in the middle of raid, and it's kind of just like it cut out.
Oh god.
Because I'm generally the one that's like, because I've done the higher content rating, I'm generally the one that's like explaining it when I go with my casual group. So like, well, shit, what do we do here?
Like, what are we gonna do? Steak isn't making the call-outs. How do I know if I'm supposed to stand in front of the boss?
Yeah, because I generally do make a lot of the call-outs because I've got really good situational awareness for rating.
But, so battle pet training is taught by battle pet trainers. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
So the trainers will be located... The trainers will be located in your starter zone. There will be 2 trainers, one for Ally, which is Alliance, one for Horde, and located in the faction's main city. So, for example, if you're Alliance, it's going to be in Stormwind.
Right.
I'm not sure where it is for Horde.
So, for Horde, it's going to be in Orgrimmar. So, for the Alliance, if you absolutely cannot find it by the instructions we're about to give, ask a guard. That is your surefire best way to find it because they will mark it on your map for you.
It's marked by what? A little flag?
It's marked by a little flag, like a red flag with an exclamation mark on the inside of it, and that's goes for anything you ask the guard to find.
Sweet. I think you told me about that earlier.
Yeah, and it was kind of helpful in getting to it. So, basically, in Stormwind, it is if you're familiar with where the embassy is, or where the...
It's where the portals are,
where the portals are to go to, like, Hyjal and, like, all the Cataclysm zones and stuff like that, and near, like, the Pandaria portal and stuff like that. So, she's, like, right there sitting under a tree. The Horde one's actually a little bit easier to find. Like, it is really easy to find. So you go up to where the flight master is in Orgrimmar, up on that big plateau where the Zeppelins are. And he's actually, like, right there. So if you've never done any pet battling before...
I'm not the only one who's getting tongue-tied.
Like, on every different race you have, talk to that person and ask to learn about training battle pets, because they'll actually be... there will be race-specific pets. Like, I think that the Tauren one was like a prairie dog.
The cool thing that I noticed earlier whenever I was looking for the girl to start training with battle pets is on the way there, since I had pet tracking turned on, which I'll get into how to turn that on in just a minute. Along the way, I ran into several low levels that I could catch, and I think I caught, a rat and a squirrel?
Yeah.
I went to go catch a rabbit, but I hit it too hard.
You murdered the hell out of that rabbit.
But, okay, so to initiate a battle, which is what I said I was going to get into, find a wild pet battle or another trainer. So a wild pet battle, locate the tracking menu. You can find this on your mini-map. So the search icon, the little magnifying glass. Magnifying glass. You're going to click on that, and you're going to find track pets. You don't have to go to the...
No.
Okay, no. That's
so
later on.
You're referring to, like, the
stable master.
The town stuff. Yeah, don't do that.
I will get into that in just a moment, so bear with me. You're going to turn on track pets, and so from there, battle pets will appear on your mini-map. They'll be indicated by a green paw.
Yeah. And you can actually mouse over on your mini-map to see what they are.
Yeah. And the cool thing is they will be indicated by the same thing floating above their head whenever you find them. Mm-hmm. So if there's a squirrel, per se, that you can capture as a battle pet, it'll have a green
instead
paw.
Of just being just a random critter. And battle pets will typically have a level on them. That'll vary depending upon, like, what level they are.
The same way that you would look for, like, available quest or quest to turn in, like with the exclamation point or the question mark above their head, you will just find a paw icon. Mm-hmm. Let's see, where am I? So make sure that you have an active pet and activate the wild pet as if you were initiating combat. This will begin a pet battle. I want to kind of tweak that because what I did was I just right-clicked on it and it initiated a battle.
That's what that means.
But whenever you initiate just regular combat, you go attack it. You don't do that with a pet battle.
I mean, you can right-click on someone to initiate combat, but yeah, I get what you mean.
I just find that that's the easiest because it'll just bring you right into the battle.
So, one thing that this guide, I think that, like, we got our information from, doesn't really bring up is the fact that sometimes the ground or the terrain is not suitable to pet battle. Like, if you're standing in water, you can't be standing in water.
Or like a web.
The terrain is not really matched up perfectly to pet battle. It will tell you that you can't pet battle here.
Well, because, like, the reason I say this is because some of your combat abilities, like if you're just in regular combat, like say you're in Azuna, like in that weird cavern place that has all the spider webs in it, and you can't really do, like, normal combat there, especially as a demon hunter with your, like, strike and your leap, because it just won't let you.
So you also have to be out of combat as well.
I mean, I kind of figured.
Another interesting thing, too, is if you're flagged in, like, war mode and you pet battle, you're fair game to people. Like, literally, they'll come up and just, like, smack your ass when you're trying to do a pet battle.
So something really important when it comes to pet battling is recovering after battle. So you, yourself, whenever you battle somebody, you will heal. Mm-hmm. Your pet, however, you need to manually heal your pet. So after you finish your first battle, your pet is most likely beaten up. Like, you took some hits. There are a few options here. You could swap pets, but if your goal is leveling a pet, then you need to revive your pet so it can battle again. You have 3 choices here. You can use Revive Battle Pet, which is an instant cast. It has a 100-yard range, 10-minute cooldown. It heals and resurrects all your pets for 100%. Your second choice is to go to the search bar, by the mini-map again. Mouse over townsfolk because you will not find this in like the regular menu. And then you'll go down and click on the stable master. It'll track the stable master. You will need to go to them indicated by a horseshoe icon. And click, I'd like to heal and revive my battle pet, and it's a 10 silver fee.
So hunters will actually be familiar with this person anyways, because it's the same place you go to actually like go to your pet stable.
Yeah.
So like you're familiar with this if you're a hunter.
The third option is battle pet bandage. So a possible reward from the sack of pet supplies received as an award from quests given by pet trainers.
I believe you can actually buy them on vendors too with the currency.
I'm not sure.
I think so. Like I was looking earlier. I think you actually can.
So related to earlier, whenever I was talking about capturing the rat and the rabbit and the squirrel. So when it comes to capturing pets, once any of your pets is at level 3, you can unlock another pet slot. You'll be able to capture wild pets now. All you have to do is find a pet that is capturable. Once you do, mouse over the pet. If it says capturable in green, you'll be able to initiate combat. You'll need to get the pet below 35% health. Make sure that you don't do like me and just one-shot the dang.
I mean, some abilities, unfortunately, especially if you're fighting a level 1 pet, are going to kill it.
Learn your abilities.
Yeah, I think what it was is like all 3 of the pets you had out were level 5 pets.
Yeah.
Versus a level 1, and you kind of nuked it.
I felt really bad. So, the capture chance is increased by 20% each time you fail. So, every time you fail, your chances of capturing it are going to go up a little bit.
I believe, too, through achievements, and, like, the more you do pet battles and stuff like that, and the higher your pet levels get, and collections, and things like that, you actually do increase the chance to do this. It's been a long time since I've actually really done that part of it, but I believe it's actually increased, because I think that I have, like, a 35% chance, like, when I do, because I've got, like, 1,000 pets. So, like, when you fail the first time, the next time's 35%, because you actually get an improved trap when you get the certain achievement. And I think it's through number of pets you have.
That's really cool. So before we move on, Steak, what are you sipping on today?
Red Bull and tea.
That's an interesting combination.
It is the breakfast of champions.
Or is it the dinner of champions? Because it's like almost midnight.
Oh, I got something trying to get some of my Red Bull.
Damn ants. I'm sipping on oolong. I think yours is what, lemon zinger?
Mine's lemon zinger tea. I think yours is pu'er, isn't it?
It is pu'er.
So we're out of oolong because
yeah.
I love drinking oolong.
Oh, I love oolong. Now, Steak, what are you sipping out of today?
Oh, I'm sipping out of my Horde mug because I'm for the Horde.
Hell yeah. So if you want that, just head over to Blizzard store and pick that up.
It's a great investment. Anyways, I think we should get back to our...
So, once you get them down to 35%, throw the trap.
Yeah.
Which is indicated by a cage icon.
Yeah, and it'll flash when they actually get low enough.
It will not light up until you get them to 35% or lower. There is a chance to miss. The tooltip states this. Keep trying, because eventually you will capture it. After combat is finished, you will see the pet name and quality. And I will get into quality whenever we get to pet families.
Okay.
So, moving on to stats. What do the numbers really mean? So, they're pretty self-explanatory, but whatever, let's get into it. So, health is the most important stat. Monitor this at all times. During battle, your pet will take damage just like you. Unlike you, your pet cannot heal itself. You need to revive them. If your pet has not died, a small amount of health will be restored.
Now, I want to give a caveat to that real quick. There are actually some pets that have healing abilities that can be used in combat, so they can actually heal themselves up.
However, the pet will your pet will state in their abilities whether they can heal themselves or not. Just like with any other ability.
Think of it like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, this is Blizzard's version of Pokemon.
If you know how to play Pokemon, you know how to play this.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. If they happen to level up, they will be fully healed.
Yep.
So, visit your stable master regularly to restore health and prevent pets from dying too often. They will receive no experience that way. because
they're dead.
Yeah.
So again, it's like even when a player levels up, they actually get to full health too.
What you mentioned earlier, I was about to get to. There are also pet abilities that restore health.
Okay.
So, for those who don't know, I take a lot of notes, or Snake takes a lot of notes depending on who does the notes that week. And we put a lot of time and research and effort into these podcasts. Like with the macros, we had a bunch of notes.
That was a tremendous undertaking. Like that one was long. So I feel like this one's a bit informative too, but I think next podcast we do is going to be a lot more laid back because these have been really intensive, like research wise.
So next week, I want to point out that for Christmas, that week we will not have a podcast because we need a break too. We will resume in January, however, so expect that. I think next week we are wanting to cover where we think things are going to go in BFA, potential theories we might have about things, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so next up we have power determines the base damage of your pet abilities. Ooh, excuse me. There are abilities that alter damage both positively and negatively, which I will also get into again whenever we get to pet families. Damage is also affected by the type of attack and the type of defending pet. Speed determines who attacks first each turn. It can also be affected by abilities. Using a pet with high speed is advisable when you're looking to capture. This will save time and avoid pet death.
So what I can say about that specifically is that flying pets are generally really fast because of their passive, and
which we will get to that during pet families.
And then rabbits are always really good because they're generally really fast. Alright, so leveling 101. So this has changed a little bit because of how they did the level scaling with BFA, and so I'm going to kind of touch on that. So it's pretty easy, but it is time consuming. So just keep beating up enemy pets until the XP bar fills up. Soon enough, you're going to move to a higher level area.
I mean, it pretty much follows the flow of...
Okay, so it used to. So Blizzard used to have, and the guys and girls have been playing for a longer time, know this, that...
What about our non-binary pals, babe?
Them too. So, basically, the zones were set up to where you went to a certain zone, you stayed there for so many levels, and then you left.
Yeah.
So the pets would be around the level that you would have them at. Like, so in the starter zones, you're going to have pets that go up to, I think, level 3.
Yeah.
Or maximum, like, level 5. And it'll actually say on the when you mouse out of the zone, it'll actually tell you what levels the pet ranges are.
And it's most it's indicated by color, right? Like, what's in your range.
So if it's gray, that means that the current pets you have out right now, out massively. It's like,
so if you have a 22 and you mash over a 5 or something.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as when you're fighting other players. If you run into someone who has got a gray level, they're going to give you no honor. They're way lower than you. You're not going to get any benefit out of that. Green means you're going to get some, but it's not going to be the maximum. Yellow is actually the optimal level range you want. And so orange, I believe, orange is more difficult, so it's going to, they're going to be more challenging for you, but they're going to give you a high reward.
There's still a chance of winning it.
Exactly. If you have the right pet combination, you actually might win it. And then there's the red. Red, your pet's going to get destroyed. If you have a level 5 pet and you go to level 25 zone, you're just going to get wrecked. I mean,
when it comes to leveling pets, think of it as leveling yourself. I mean, you yourself are not going to level unless you do the quests and beat things up and, aside from the vegan who leveled without killing anything.
That was impressive. I gotta say, that was really impressive. I think they did it through just mining and herbing.
That would take a lot of time and dedication. Props to them.
Yeah, that's determination. They probably made a killing on the auction house after that, too.
I want to point out that I'm not like the tone of voice probably sounded like I was trashing the vegan. No, it was
That
more
was pretty
like
cool.
it was more of me saying, like, if you choose to level without beating things up, props to you. That's
so you can
impressive.
actually, interesting thing too is like you can level through pet battles too. They give a fair bit of experience.
Yeah, you can also level through battlegrounds and dungeons and.
Oh yeah, so many different ways. All right, so basically, so like I said, they kind of messed up the flow when they did the level scaling, because you can stay in classic zones from 1 to 60 just about. So you can literally, so if you're in like Stranglethorn Vale, you can literally stay there until level 60, and then it's going to cap out on you, and then you're going to have to head to the next area. So just be aware of the pet level range, and if you start to exceed it, maybe consider going to another zone. And it's fine too if you're maximum level and doing these, because you can just fly around and just nail them pretty quick. So the maximum pet level is 25, and that's been unchanged since it came out.
Yeah.
So, and I believe it came out in Cataclysm. Yeah, Cataclysm. And so now we're here at BFA several expansions later, because Cataclysm was like the third expansion of the game, because you had Burning Crusade, Lich King, and the Cata.
Nice.
So we're now at the 8th expansion of the game.
Still at level 25.
Because we're getting into 8.1 coming up, and it's still level 25. Alright, so we will be including like a nice little leveling guide. And a piece of advice that I can give is you actually want to get 1 to 2 up to level 25, and then have a leveling pet out in your main slot, and then switch it out. Like, get 1 hit on the enemy, and then switch it out, and then use the other 2 pets to, like, win the battle. Because the other 2 are maxed out, all the experience is going to go to the leveling pet. And that's actually a strategy I think people use in Pokemon too. So let's talk about quality. So they're divided into four different quality, like, qualifiers, I guess. So you have poor, which are when you click on a pet to fight it, you're not going to be able to see, unless you have an add-on that can track it, what the quality of the pet is before the battle. And especially if so when you first start out, you're only going to be going against 1 pet at a time. And then as the pets get higher and higher, there's going to be 2 pets. And then finally a full team of 3 pets to go against you.
Let me get our little gremlin real quick.
Okay, go ahead and do that. So you're going to be fighting against full teams eventually, and they're going to have different pets. And essentially, if you're in the mood for capturing, and you see a poor quality, a common quality, uncommon, and a rare, you want to go for the highest quality, because they're going to have the better stats. As they level, their stats are going to scale better. Now, that's not to say that you can't capture like a poor quality and, using a battle stone, turn them into a rare, because I've done that several times myself. So the poor quality, they're gray. The common is white. The uncommon is green, and the rares are blue. Essentially the same way that weapons and armor would be set up. Now, there are elite pets, or epic pets, and there are legendary pets, but they are not set aside for players. They are specifically for trainers, and as like wild pets for like challenges. So let's see what else we got here. So rare quality pets are the strongest you can get. So even if they're the same level, you could take a rare quality pet and just beat the hell out of a poor quality pet.
Because, like, something that's rare quality is going to have more health and more hit damage than, like, say, a common quality.
Right.
Which is why they're rare.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about pet types. So every type has another, like, an opposing type that takes extra damage from their attacks.
Which, we can kind of skip over that, because I have a
Okay, so you have the whole
guide.
table? Okay.
Like, the next thing that we're going to get into is pet families and pet types, so we will get into that.
I think that's just a few away, because I've got a couple more I want to cover.
Yeah,
here,
that's why I say just go ahead and skip over that, and we'll get into it.
So I'm delaying this until later because we've actually got a nice chart.
The link that I copied this from in the first place did not have clarification on pet types or anything, so I wanted to get into that because I'm sure it can be a little bit daunting.
Yeah. Now we will be providing a pretty clear link to where you can look at a chart and go through. It's a very, very nice chart.
Most definitely. With the guide that I have, I only have a few so some of the types have examples, and then after that I'm just going to kind of breeze through the rest of the types. The chart that I'm linking is extremely easy to read. It is very comprehensive.
I think it even uses the symbol for the type, right? In the chart.
So it's got the picture of the pet. It's got how likely it is to drop. It's got the abilities. It's got what works well together and what opposes. Okay.
And I'm also going to be including the add-on that I use for pet battles because it's really effective because it actually shows what abilities your enemy's using, if they're on cooldown, when they're coming off cooldown, things like that.
Yeah, 100%. In all of our podcasts, any research that we did, the source that we pulled it from is going to be in the description. Any other helpful links is going to be in the description, and maybe even other people to watch that get more in depth or specialize.
I mean, we kind of do a nice little TLDR kind of thing for ours because I know a lot of people don't want to sit there and read through a whole guide.
Yeah, exactly. However, with playing the game, there comes you having to do your own research.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Especially if you want to do something like the Celestial Tournament, or you want to fight the legendary pets in Pandaria.
Which the Celestial Tournament is included in the pet types. Okay.
So yeah, that will be providing information to how to find that guide, because that guide actually gives a nice overview of a good set of pets you should have in general. Yeah. Ones that are really effective, not only their type, but also their breed. Yeah. So, say you get, a balanced one, or a health one, or a guardian, or a speed pet. It will suggest, hey, get a speed pet of this, because it being fast is really important. Alright? So, you go out and you fight the tamers that are given to, you're assigned to do these through the quest. And that, do all the quests that the battle pet trainer assigns to you before you move on.
Because so question.
Yes.
So what happens when I've beaten all the trainers?
Okay, so after you beat them all, you unlock the pet battle related dailies. Now this is kind of applied to the original ones that were out in the classic zones in Outland and Northrend. Yeah. The pet battle world quests that came about in Legion and BFA, they're a little bit different. I mean, I do, they're still going to pop up on your map even if you don't have battle pets that can do it. Yeah. So they're really good to do because they're going to award you the charms, which is actually something that we're going to cover here in a second. So basically go for the tamer title after you've beaten all the pets. Do the dailies and then, fight tamers on every continent and get that title because, it's really going to be fun.
So basically I need to defeat every pet tamer in Azeroth.
Oh yeah. And then you can also...
When you defeat the tamer, you become the tamer.
you actually, if you collect all the pets in these zones, you actually get the Zookeeper title. Which I'm one pet shy of that. Because there are pets that are determined by weather and season. I'm not even kidding. There are pets that don't even show up till nighttime or early morning.
I'm sure that there are even some pets that... Our cat's a crackhead. I'm sure that there are even some pets that you can only get during maybe certain festivals.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That only during certain times of the year and certain holidays can you get these pets. Now, that's not to say that people don't buy them and then put them on the auction house, because that happens. So, next I'm going to cover is the pet charms. So this is a system that came out to give you a currency to use at vendors to get pet supplies, to get, to buy actual pets, maybe rarer pets, which are really good to have for different pet battles. So Legion and BFA used a different currency. Okay, so Legion used the shiny pet charms, and all these pet charms, by the way, are account bound, and they basically you can trade them across your account to send them to a character you need to have them on.
I wonder if they can hear
Our cat just rustling with a bag over there. I hope not.
It's the one pet I can't catch.
So basically, you can also gain these through like mission table missions and like both Legion and BFA to get them through the world quests and things like that. And so when you get these, they're really good to have. Like I said, so say that you're on a horde character and you want an alliance side pet, and say that you've done all the reputation required to get that pet from the alliance side. So you send them over to a character on the alliance side that can get them, and because they're account bound, you can just send them to that guy, no big deal, and then buy the pet. And because the pets are actually now bound to your entire account, it's really great. That was something actually that was really nice a while back. Was before they made them into battle pets, they actually made it to where pets that you'd gotten on one character were shared amongst your entire account.
She's got the twist eye.
She's got the twist eye, so she's having a lot of fun over there.
Oh, she's never gonna shut up. Alright, so now we get to move into pet families.
Hooray!
So
Are they keeping it in the family?
I hope not. So, I don't even know why they gave me this, because maybe I just didn't write this down. Like when I actually... So, common is indicated by green. Uncommon is indicated by yellow. Rare is indicated by orange.
Now, this is specifically for your chart.
This is specifically for the chart.
Breeds. Okay.
This is not specific to the actual game. We've already told you what colors they're going to be indicated by in the game.
So this is basically like if you had the chart and said, okay, well this pet can only be gained through these means, or how rare is it to get in the game itself?
So it's basically a ranking. It's basically a ranking of how hard it is to get in the game.
Okay.
So common is green, uncommon is yellow, rare is orange, very rare is red. Purple is one that you have to buy, or is a promotion that you have to buy.
Okay.
And gray is unattainable, whether it be because they're no longer available, or you can't get them yet.
Gotcha.
I apologize if you can hear our cat in the background. Like, she's just having fun. So, the first one that we're going to get into is aquatic types. So, their passive is harmful damage over time effects, harmful damage over time effects are reduced by 50% on aquatic pets. So, any dots that are harmful...
Say that the opponent put like a bleed on your pet, then it's going to be reduced. The number of rounds is going to be reduced.
But it's reduced 50% on aquatic pets.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just specific to this type. Takes extra damage by 50% from flying abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the opponent is a flying type that does a flying ability, it's going to do 50% extra damage to your aquatic type. It resists 30% damage from undead abilities.
Now, something I want to point out here, too, is that just because your pet is of a certain type does not mean that its moves are all limited to that type.
Exactly.
They can actually have moves from different breeds. So you could actually have a dragon do like a flying type move.
Because a dragon can fly.
Yeah, and it's a flying ability.
So, while not heavy hitting while not heavy hitting, pets of this type are useful for their resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes comes with healing moves such as Healing Wave or Cleansing Rain. A selection of aquatic pets also have moves like Shell Shield. Say that 5 times fast. This stacks with their passive abilities to nullify most dot effects, including weather.
So, like, typically the ones that come with Shell Shield they're gonna be like your crabs and stuff like that.
I stapled over that and I have no idea what it says. That's what you...
Oh, okay.
Do I need to mention that?
We can mention that at the end.
Alright, so this is one of the ones where I'll probably only give you one or two examples. So examples of aquatic types are magical crawdads. They are rare, so they're red in this chart. They're obtained from fishing in highland mixed schools in Terracar Forest.
Which is an outland, if people weren't familiar with that.
So Mr. Pinchy has a 2%, or actually 0.2% drop rate, and has a 1 in 5 chance to grant you Magical Crawdad Box when used, which is a 4-hour cooldown with recharges. And then an example of a common type is Benax, drops from Anax, a rare level 110 rare spawn in Suramar. So to move on, so beast types. So beast types, passive, deals 25% extra damage below half health, takes extra damage by 50% from mechanical abilities, and resists 33% damage from humanoid abilities. Some examples of this are Zandalari Ankle Biter and Zandalari Knee Biter,
Those
which
are amazing pets to have. Like, they're really good.
They're uncommon.
Right.
So they both have a chance to drop off Zandalari Dinomancer in the Isle of Giants,
which is above Kunlai in Pandaria.
One that is common is an Alpine Foxling, encountered as a wild pet, level 23 to 25 in Kunlai Summit or
Townlong Steppes.
Yeah, Townlong Steppes.
Which is honestly, that's also a really good pet to have, because that's both the Zandalari Ankle Render and the Alpine Foxling are recommended pets for the Celestial Tournament.
Yeah. So, moving on to critter types. Passive, critters are immune to stun, root, and sleep effects. They take damage by 50% from beast abilities and resist 33% damage from elemental abilities.
They generally do nice little stampeding abilities, which will actually will increase the amount of damage they do to the opponent by, I believe it's 50%. So, like, they're a really good ability, really good pet to have if you want to get that big oomph damage.
There were only 3 things listed in the guide for this, and they were all common, so I only wrote one down, which is Shimmer Shell Snail. Say that 5 times fast. Encountered as a wild pet, level 2 through 6 on Coast of Darkshore.
I think I actually have one of those, and I've named...
Yeah, it's common. You ain't
No,
special.
I've named him Gary.
Oh my god.
And he's a hard hitter. I like him.
So moving on to Dragonkin types, for all you Tumblerinas out there. Just kidding. Don't come at me. Passive, Dragon deals 50% additional damage on the next round after bringing the target's health below 50%. Takes extra damage by 50% from humanoid abilities and resists 33% damage from flying abilities. So one example of Dragonkin is common, Emerald Proto-Whelp. Encountered as a wild pet, level 21 to 22 in the Savage Thicket Sholazar Basin.
Yeah, so that's in Northwind.
Okay. Moving on to elemental types, and after this I am not stating any more examples. I think I've given you enough.
Yeah.
So elemental types, passive, elementals ignore all negative weather effects. Enemy pets can still gain the beneficial effects from weather when facing elementals. Takes extra damage by 50% from aquatic abilities and resists 33% damage. Resists 33% damage from mechanical abilities. I forgot to write damage there and I confused myself. So, flying types. Passive. Flying creatures gain 50% extra speed while above 50% health, which is why I said we were going to get into it in a bit. Takes extra damage by 50% from magic abilities and resists 33% damage from beast abilities.
They're generally a really good pet to have open up if you want to get in like big damage moves because of that extra speed.
Yeah.
Like if you need to hit first on an ability against a pet, they're really good to have.
Humanoid types. Passive, recovers 4% of their maximum health if they
dealt damage.
I wrote dealt twice like an idiot. Takes extra damage by 50% from undead abilities. Resists 33% damage from critter abilities. Magic types. Passive. Magic pets cannot be dealt more than 35% of their maximum health in one attack. Takes extra damage by 50% from dragonkin abilities. Resists 33% damage from aquatic abilities.
So they're actually really good if you're facing off against something that has a really hard-hitting ability.
Yeah.
And you want to put a pet in there that's going to be able to eat that hit.
Mechanical types. Passive. Comes back to life once per battle, returning to 20% health. Takes extra damage by 50% from elemental abilities and resists 33% damage from magic abilities.
What's good about some of those too is that there's a Dark Moon Zeppelin that can actually put out like a decoy, and so you can negate a couple of hits from that, and then a couple of others actually have abilities that will heal them. So even if they die and go down to 20%, they can get this big chunk of health back even after that.
And the last type we're going to cover is undead types. Passive, undead pets return to life, immortal for 1 round when killed. Takes extra damage by 50% from critter abilities and resists 33% damage from dragonkin abilities.
I will say that they're actually a really good pet family to have in that situation, because if you know there's going to be a move that kills your pet, but you still want to get like a really nice ability off. Say like you have an undead pet that has a stampede, so it can actually put that damage modifier on the enemy pet.
Yeah.
So pop that on your last move. On your last round, that pet's gonna be alive. Even if when it dies, it's still gonna give that debuff to the enemy pet.
Yeah.
So one thing I can definitely advise is do not, if you're still leveling pets up, do not be tempted to buy level 25 pets off the auction house, because you will not be able to open up the pet cage. And that's something I kind of want to address a little bit too, is that so if you catch a pet in the wild, you cannot cage it and sell it on the auction house. Any pets caught in the wild are yours, but any pets that you get in a dungeon or a raid,
so ones that drop the fragment of desire, you can sell that.
Yeah, exactly. And what you
I have sold many of those.
Yeah, and they're actually really catching pets and or getting pet drops in dungeons, things like that. It's a really good way to make money on the auction house, because if you find ones that are really rare to drop in the dungeon that have a really low drop rate, and you cage them and then you put them on the auction house, that's a nice little return there.
So, like I said, there are some YouTubers that do a lot of pet battle stuff. What are you doing?
Sorry.
They do a lot of pet battle stuff and are a lot more informed than we are.
Oh, absolutely.
And, okay, so Steak is more informed than me, but, these guys do a lot of these videos. They have a guide for pretty much everything that you need to know about pet battles, and the number one that we can recommend is Hazelnutty Games.
Mm-hmm.
When you look up anything about pet battles, what you are most likely to see is her.
Yeah. And she is very, very good at what she does when she talks about them.
There are 2 other people, one of which Steak has the pleasure of knowing.
Yeah, actually, she was in my guild, and I think she's still actually on my server, and this Panzer from Trade Chat.
Yeah, so her channel is Trade Chat, and then the last one that we can recommend is Tuska, which is kind of a odd spelling of a name, but it's really cool.
He's actually got some really good informative information about pet battling. He puts in his research and his time in that as well.
So if I'm not mistaken, Trade Chat does updates on pet things, and
she does general updates, and she's really bubbly when she goes and talks about her stuff. It's kind of nice. Yeah, it's really very What if she watches this?
I hope she does.
But yeah, Panzer, if you do happen to listen to this, Steak says hey. So
I messaged her on Twitter one time and I was like, "Hey, you know my husband?" I never got a response.
She's quite busy. So I think the takeaway from all this is that don't be intimidated by pet battles. I mean, they're gonna seem intimidating at first because it's gonna be really confusing. Like, hey, I don't know how to get started in these.
Raise
But yeah,
his hand.
I mean, honestly, once you have your pets down, once you've got that team of like the 225s, you're gonna very quickly start getting
Oh yeah.
more 25s. And there's also little charms I believe you can purchase with off the pet vendors that will actually increase the amount of health, or not health, it's not health, amount of experience you get from, like, your pets get from doing pet battles. And then there's also weekly events of bonus pet battle stuff, which is actually really nice.
I can't stress enough that while it is great to listen to general overviews of guides and TLDRs, your own research needs to be put into it, because these are our experiences, what works best for us, and just general how to get started. Like, there are things that we didn't cover in here. There are things that are a little bit more advanced that didn't need to be in a beginner's guide, and doing your own research is going to help you get it down anyways. Like, me just taking these notes really, really helped me get down the concept of pet battling, and I did my first pet battle today, and it went a lot more smoothly than I thought it was going to go.
So another thing too is, like, especially if you're a DPS class or like even a healer and you queue up for like a dungeon or like a battleground or something, and you got like half an hour to kill before the queue even pops.
Oh yeah.
Pet battles are a nice little thing to do to kill time.
Shit, man, I'm a tank and I still have a long queue.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Like, so since we're kind of like out of our technicalities and, all of our notes, and we can kind of just bullshit for a little bit. I got about 15 minutes to kill. So, when it comes to pet battling, what was your start into it? Like,
so I didn't really get heavily invested into it until Miss Pandaria. So in Kata, I had because that's when they made all the pets like account bound, and when they actually enabled pet battling. So I didn't really get too invested in it then, because I went and did like the Tambers and stuff, but I just didn't really take the time to get like the perfect pets.
Yeah.
Like I said, Miss Pandaria I think is when I really got into it, because I wanted the celestial pets.
Yeah.
And I did my research. I found a celestial pet guide, which we're gonna include in this because it's a excellent guide.
Yeah.
It is a guideline to, hey, these are pretty ideal pets to have, because they're very well-rounded overall pets to have in your repertoire anyways. They're good.
Yeah.
And now I know that since the celestial tournament has been around for a while, there are now pets that may be better than their original suggestions, and the comments will actually say as much. Like, you can actually get pets that will perform the duties of what you'd had before a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, I know for sure that there's one pet that it will haunt your dreams if you don't get it, and it's the unborn Valkyr. That is a pain in the ass to farm, but it's so worth it. That is honestly one of my all-time favorite pets to have, because she does a nice attack on the opponents.
I didn't expect this to be more technicalities. Like, my first pet battle was a disaster. I fought a bunch of spiders in Suramar, and they kicked my ass.
Yeah. So like I said, I started mine in MOP, and I had a pet or two that was level 25, and then I was like, you know what? I need to level up some more.
Yeah.
So I think I got a couple of the rare pet stones, and popped them up to 25, a couple of them. And that's actually a pretty decent way to do that, because it's really helpful if you want, say that you have a poor quality pet and you want it to be a rare because it's a really effective pet to have. Then that's a good thing to do, is to put it to rare.
So since we are BSing now, shameless plug, we now have a Patreon, or Patreon, however you say that.
Patreon.
So if you want to help out a small podcasting team, then definitely head over to our Patreon and,
feel free to donate.
And then, like I said, we also have a merch store on Etsy. So we will have a little bit more like actual merch, like centric stuff once we get a logo that I can actually sell designed, because
I think that Blizzard would put the hammer down if we try to use
I wouldn't
the current
want
one.
I wouldn't want to use our current logo anyways. Like, I really like the shield that you designed.
I'm not overly fond of it. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
just because it's your art.
Yeah, I don't. I'm overly critical of my own art.
I mean, same.
I mean,
but,
I'll try to come up with something and see what I can get together for that.
But if you want to know what our idea is, you'll just have to stay tuned.
You know what I think would be really cool is people listening to this who are more, art inclined.
Yeah.
If you guys actually want to submit things like that,
that would be really cool.
Maybe submit like a logo design. We could actually have it to where they get like something free off your Etsy.
You know what we should do?
What's up?
We should start a hashtag on Instagram, and if anybody has any logo ideas, they can just hashtag it and I'll check that.
Yeah, because guys, here's the thing too. It's like if you design that logo for us and we put that on merch, you're going to get royalties off of it. We're not going to like just be like, "Oh yeah, we took your idea. We like it so much we took it." No.
Yeah.
You're going to get compensated for doing that.
100%.
Like the initial compensation may be like, "Hey, you get like a massive discount on something on the Etsy store."
Or I just give you okay, so when it comes to actual tangible things, I will not be able to do that because it costs money to print. And
I gotcha.
However, anything that you want digitally, it's yours.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair trade for that.
But any merch that we sell with said logo, you will get royalties on.
Yeah, you'll be credited for your design, and we'll make sure to be like, hey, designed by so and so.
Yeah, but I think we should probably start wrapping it up by now because it's getting close to the hour mark. And if I'm being honest, I have to pee. I have had a lot of tea.
So you think about waterfalls right now?
I hate you.
Like Niagara Falls just kind of gushing over the waves there.
Hashtag make steak stop talking about peeing and waterfalls. Our cat is chasing something.
But yeah, guys, and the same thing goes for like any of our podcasts. If you have any questions whatsoever about things that we covered, things that you want us to cover, and even like coming to us and asking us for our advice, things like that.
We also have a Facebook page now.
We do.
So there's 3 avenues to where you can leave us questions in the comments below here, because there is a comment section. You can message us on our Facebook, which will be linked down below, or on our Instagram, which will be linked down below.
Good deal.
So if you want to keep up with updates, then be sure to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram.
Now, are we also going to include like the YouTube as well?
Probably.
Maybe like within another couple of weeks, right?
I'll probably get that linked up next weekend.
Okay.
Because I have some editing to do, and I have to get the last 2 weeks' podcast up, as well as this one.
Gotcha.
So I'm also trying to figure out what my upload schedule for that will be, because I feel like uploading a podcast and a YouTube video on the same day is going to be a little bit too much.
Yeah, probably do it like middle of the week or something.
Or like Monday. Something like that. But
Monday, so I got something to listen to on Tuesday.
But yeah, so if you enjoy our content, feel free to stop by our Patreon or pick up some merch, and we'll see you next week.
One last announcement. So guys, 8.1 goes live next week on the 11th.
Oh.
And Battle for Desire Lore goes live on January 22nd. Make sure that you run your Mythic Pluses this week before the Tuesday reset, because the currency that Blizzard has announced will actually come out of your Mythic chest, your Mythic cache, for running Mythics this week. So make sure you get those in, guys.
I need to get that knocked out.
Yep. Alright, guys. Well, we will catch you later, and thank you for tuning in.
See you next week. Hey guys, Editing Pizza here to let you know that we will not be called Waddle Podcast from now on. We will be switching to Today in the Queue. It has come to my attention that Blizzard actually has a panel, and I think actually a podcast called Water Podcasts, and I didn't know about this until like yesterday, so I do apologize for that, and from now on we will be called Today in the Queue.